Namaste. Hi, welcome to yoga. We're going to be looking today at the idea of knowing yourself, truly knowing yourself. And we're looking at it from the perspective of Islam. And they would say that know thyself is a sacred undertaking. And that without a true knowledge of who you are, you're never going to know that spark of divine that lies within you. We are not who we think we are. You know, even if you ask other people, most people are really surprised at the way other people describe them. You know, we think that the face that we present to the world is, you know, we know that face well. We're the ones who invented it, if you like. And so it's a surprise when somebody says, oh, I always find you to be this way. And you're like, oh, I don't think of myself as that way. And it's for me, you know, when I was certainly by the time I was at university, I tended to be a bit sarcastic, and it was something that was a family trait. And if you grow up in a house where other people are sarcastic, it's hurtful and it's kind of mean, but you learn to do it yourself as a way of surviving. And so by the time I went to university, I was, as I say, I was kind of a little bit snippy, a bit sarcastic, clever, wanting to just look smart. And then I went off to California and spent years studying yoga. And 17 years later, I came back and I got to meet up at a 20th reunion with people I went to university with. And I was talking to an old friend about, you know, changing. This idea that we have the ability to change and grow. And I said something about, oh, you know, how bad I was at university for being sarcastic. And he said to me, oh, he laughed and he said, no, he said, you were always kind. And it really surprised me, shocked me, because I didn't think that that's how he would perceive me. But it's one of those experiences where the other person sees you better than you see yourself. And all the great traditions would say, take off this mask of personality, set it aside, and allow your true self to express. Show your real face to the world. And the wonderful Sufi poet Rumi used to say, you know, I see the spark of divinity in your eyes. And just in this case, that friend of mine who saw something of my true self behind my behavior. And so yogis are really keen that we make this transition. You know, the spiritual teachers want us to show that true face, that authentic face, because it is the most beautiful part of who you are. And we're conditioned in life to define not just ourselves, but other people by the externals, by the superficial realities. And so we focus on what we do, and we focus on what we have, rather than who we are, our beingness, and our expression of our true self. And so here we are identifying not only us, but other people by appearance, by education, by our wealth, our family, our financial status, our profession, all of the externals. And we strive for them. You know, we strive to have these things, and we miss out on the inner reality. We're living to satisfy these outside needs and desires. And we end up leading what Thoreau would call lives of quiet desperation. How sad is that? As we pursue the external, we're not speaking truth. We're living inside this life of quiet desperation. And so in the Islam tradition, they would say, what a dim shadow of the life that the creator and cherisher has in mind for us. It's beautiful, really. That recognition that this is not how life is supposed to be. And that the sacred work of getting to know ourselves, the reason you're here to do this sacred work. And as we do that, it diminishes that shadow and brings us into the light. That shifting from wanting, judging, and desiring the external things of the world. And so in the Quran it says, God lovingly molded us from water and clay, and then infused us with divine breath. That's worth thinking about. Infuses us with divine breath. Each one of us were nothing, water and clay, dust, until that divine breath breathes in us. You know, babies, when they're born, until they cry, that divine life is not there. Until they, well, not cry, but until they breathe in. Until they breathe in and the soul enters the body. The divine breath fills you. Rumi used to say, the beautiful poet, Sufi poet Rumi used to say, you are the ruby in the midst of granite. How long will you continue to deceive us? You know, we just look like a blob of granite. He begs us. Rumi exhorted people all the time to do this inner work. It's possible for each one of us to bond with our higher self. And he said, you know, he could see people's sacred essence in their eyes looking back out at him. And you might think, well, gosh, Rumi could do that. We can all do that. You know, we all have moments in our life where we see in somebody's eyes or recognize in their behavior that spark of the divine that lies within them. It's there and it's visible. And Rumi was an intellectual. He was a scholar. You know, people would come to listen to him speak. But he was overly engrossed. He would say himself, he was overly engrossed in the mental world. So as brilliant as his mind was, and, you know, he lived at what was then the crossroads of East and West, and it's now in Turkey. You know, the crossroads of the East and West, and people passed through and would go to listen to this teacher. But that was that need and desire to be clever, to understand with the mind. And he was that way until he met his teacher, Shams of Tabriz. And Shams came and challenged him. He's like, no, this is no life. focus on the inner work, which became his life's exhortation to us. Focus on the inner work. And when he did that, his heart opened to ecstatic joy. And now people came not to hear his intellectual understanding of something, but they came to be in his presence and experience that ecstatic joy that was radiating from him. You know, it was as if God was just blessing him, and he was graced by this divine poetry that moved through his being and out into the world. It was said that his physical body became a dwelling place for spirit, and that his lips declared holy mysteries. And when you choose to do that inner work, you join Rumi. You join the great ones who turned from the outside world to the inner world, you know, who, when made that decision on a day and then ongoing, instead of just keeping searching in the outside world for the unattainable, to stop, to sit, to open your mind and heart to God. And, you know, I like Guruji used to ask, you know, can you go into a mood of love? Can you do it by choice? Can you do it at will? And people are, yeah, yes, I can do it at will. It's easy to do it in the presence of the Guru, of the Holy One, the teacher, because you're on their coattails. But is it easy to do when your day is bad and things are going wrong and you're angry or you're hurt and you want to lash out at someone else? In that moment, can you at will focus on the inner work? Sit, breathe, turn inward, sense your soul. To be a great intellectual, you're not doing that. You're turning out. And if you do turn in, it's just into the mind, not all the way into the soul. So, you know, we may not be, in fact, we're not Rumi, but we still get to make that choice. On a bad day when you're having a hard time, you get to pick. Do I follow this down the rabbit hole of craziness? Or do I stop and breathe? And you might do something as simple as watching the breath come and go from the nostrils, in and out, not forcing it, but watching it until the mind calms down, becomes clear, and you begin to sense your true self. You begin to know yourself. So who are we? You know, if we're not that personality we concocted over time. So this is what Rumi was talking about. You know, you may not experience your soul all the time, but do you occasionally connect? Are you occasionally overwhelmed in awe over the glimpses or little fragments of your own innate nobility? These are the words of Rumi. Do you occasionally glimpse that? So let's take a minute and just sitting, closing your eyes. And if you've never had that experience, can you sense it now? You're not who you think you are. And you definitely have an innate nobility, able to express through you when you open to it. Try. And now can you sense within you exquisite graciousness, Joy. And can you sense from within a heart-melting kindness? Allowing these qualities to become more fully expressed in your being as they come down from your soul through the buddhi, the intuition, the mind and emotions, into your life force, your breath, your heartbeat, into your physical body. As you tense and relax your arms and legs, and then just tilting the body from side to side, making smaller arcs, and then chin to chest. And if you have no problems, making full circles in one direction a couple of times and then in the other. And if you have neck problems, just moving your head gently from side to side. So Rumi says, don't you sometimes ache to do some abiding good in the world so you can make a difference? You know, this know thyself. This is you. Innate nobility, exquisite graciousness, heart-melting kindness, aching to do good in the world, to make a difference. And Rumi said it is the silent, mysterious vibration of God's breath within you, yearning for us to be awakened. He says, spirit within us is breaking through the layers of our egos, screaming, enough is enough. How long can this ocean be contained? And here we are thinking that somehow, in some little way, we're striving to lead a better life, or, you know, dealing every day with our ego. You're holding back an ocean. the ocean of love, of kindness that yearns to pour out of you, like the ecstatic devotee Rumi. Namaste. Have a wonderful week.